I let you live. And you wasted it.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full Last of Us Season 2, Episode 7 finale video. There are a whole bunch of Easter eggs and references. They basically ended with the scene directly teasing what's going to be happening in Season 3. They're basically shifting from more of an Ellie-Joel story in Season 1 and Season 2 to more of an Abby story in Season 3. At least the way the showrunner has explained it is that Season 3 will mostly be an Abby season. Even though it seems wild, this is actually right out of the games. Like, you go from this crazy moment switching to Abby's perspective and flashbacks. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. The title of the episode was Convergence, a reference to Ellie finally meeting Abby, the person she's been obsessed with since she killed Joel, or was forced to watch her kill Joel. This episode was also notable in that there was no cold open. This time the episode just started immediately with the opening title sequence, and they changed it back to the new version with just Ellie at the end because we're back to present day mostly in this episode. Like, there's a brief flashback at the very end, but at least mostly we're back to present day and Joel is dead, so it's just Ellie. They start the episode at the Pinnacle Theater with Jesse helping Dina, who's bleeding out from the arrow wound of the Seraphites, having just barely escaped. They ran back to the theater while Ellie was on her little side mission to turn Nora into another walker. Technically, she killed her, so she should be dead, so I don't think that we're going to see Runner Nora during Season 3. There are a lot of questions about that. Like, we didn't actually see her kill her, but it was implied because in the video game she does kill her, so it's implied that on the show she also killed her and then came back. While Dina is screaming in pain, you also hear the WLF over the radio calling their boats back, ordering radio sounds, because they're preparing for a larger assault on the Seraphites island, which we see happen at the end of the episode. The reason why the docks, the boats, are important is because that's also near where Abby and her crew were supposed to have normally been, at the aquarium, but also the Seraphites live on an island nearby, so that's why they need the boats so they can actually get there to assault them. Part of the idea now with Dina, though, is that her injury also gives her another reason to want to go back to Jackson, because being pregnant was enough of a reason already, but having a life-threatening wound in need of better treatment also takes it to another level. Like, it is irresponsible to stay. Like, Dina's like, no, we absolutely have to go back right now. And this is before Ellie tells her the truth about why Abby killed Joel and what Joel did, killing all the Fireflies and Abby's father in Salt Lake City, which is like the cherry on top. Like, oh, we definitely need to go back to Jackson right now. No more revenge mission for us. So part of the idea is they're sort of stacking the deck against Ellie, basically fracturing her relationship with Dina over this whole revenge mission, showing you how obsessed Ellie is and how that's basically destroying all of her positive relationships with her friends around her. You notice she doesn't immediately tell Jesse that she's pregnant either, even though he basically figures it out. When Ellie comes back, she also says nothing about killing Nora until a little bit later in the episode when she comes clean to Jesse. We get a little bit of a back shot of her too when Dina's treating her wounds. Lots of scarring going on there. A lot of that goes way, way back. Like, she's been getting into fights for a long, long time her entire life. But a lot of this you see, like all the dried blood, is obviously fresh from her fight with Nora. When she says Nora only told her Abby was at Whale and Wheel, she's talking about the waterfront aquarium with the statue of the whale. This is a reference to the game in the Ferris wheel. You kind of see Ellie reckoning a little bit with killing Nora and how hard it was to make her talk. Like, didn't think I had it in me. Like, it was actually really, really hard to make her do that. Really hard to actually watch that happen too. Watch herself do that.
I made her talk.
Then obviously, probably one of the biggest moments early on in the episode, she reveals the whole truth about what Joel did, killing all the Fireflies, Abby's father, back in Salt Lake City. And you see Dina sort of reckon with it for a second, and it kind of breaks their relationship just a little bit, like it begins to break. Like, oh, it is very, very bad that we're here. We need to go back right now. Like, that's the first thing she says. We need to go back. It's basically Dina doing the mental calculus in like the brief few seconds that you see on screen here where she realizes that their desire for revenge is wrong. The whole idea is that the cycle of revenge is very destructive. That's the whole message of Season 2. Revenge is bad. Pretty much all the characters except for Ellie and Abby have realized that. But basically this entire episode is showing you how Ellie almost comes to that realization, but still does not, even after some of the later deaths, like the deaths of Mel, who is very, very pregnant, giving her a whole lot of flashbacks to the recently pregnant Dina. Normally you'd think that'd be enough to turn Ellie around on all this, but nope, the way the showrunners explain it, this definitely did not convince her that revenge is bad and she still wants to kill Abby. I also think part of the idea here too is that Dina feels a little betrayed because it's a lie of omission. Like, she knew this whole time why Joel died and she still brought Dina along without telling her. So it's almost like Dina is here because of a lie, and now because she's pregnant is just extremely irresponsible. They flash the title card the next day, Seattle Day 3, just to orient you in the timeline again. Also to set the end tag scene with the Abby Seattle Day 1 title card, the flashback, to remind you that you're going back in time, and they'll explain Abby's storyline during the previous 3 days at the beginning of Season 3. They also might do that thing in Season 3 where like those 3 days basically cover almost the entire season. Like very little time goes by, like it's very, very slow until you jump back to present day in this moment. Everybody having Walking Dead flashbacks. They did that on Walking Dead all the time, where there'd be like whole seasons that would take place over the course of a couple days. And this whole jump to different perspectives is also right out of the Last of Us 2 game, where like a large portion of the game you actually play inside Abby's perspective, like Abby's storyline, just because the way that Neil Druckmann explained it, they wanted you to question who the real villain of the story was. And the reality is that nobody is meant to be in the right. There's meant to be no actual villain, unless you want to consider grief the villain. Revenge itself is the villain, technically. And one of the other big details they tried to hammer home during this episode is that a big consequence of that is the collateral damage. So like the real victim here are really honorable people like Jesse, who wind up dying accidentally or inadvertently because of some other revenge mission that they're on right now. When at a number of different turns, they're given moments of pause where they should have turned around, like Ellie should have called it off, but does not and continues on, causing more and more collateral damage. Dina then gives Ellie her bracelet. Notice Jesse clocks this, so even though she hasn't told Jesse what's up with them yet, it seems like he basically understands that they're a thing now. In the way they've explained it, there is no actual love triangle. Like, Jesse says that he's not in love with Dina anymore, even though he still loves her and wants to parent her child. Like, he still wants to be active in the life of this child, even though he understands that she is now with Dina, like they're a couple. So at least for Jesse and Dina, it's not super awkward. It's really only awkward for Ellie, who just has no experience with relationships or anything like this. So like it just goes from 0 to 100, like super complicated overnight. But part of the idea is that Jesse really just cares about getting them all out of Seattle safely, primarily his child, but also Ellie too. Like, he cares about Ellie and saving her life too. Being a real trooper in this episode, because at every single turn, Ellie is basically a huge dick to him. Give him a real pat on the back for not smacking her upside the head for all that back talk. Almost getting them killed a couple different times.
Larry! Larry, you can't just... Oh,
Larry!
Ellie and Jesse then go to rendezvous with Tommy. He tells her that Shimmer is fine, still at the place that they stashed her at. This is also a change from the video game. In the game, they actually kill Shimmer pretty quickly. I guess they felt like killing the horse was just way too much. Like, the Seraphites gutting people, totally fine, but horse killing, way over the line. It's always funny what kind of violence these HBO shows think is acceptable and what is not acceptable. They spot another mural for a different Seraphite prophet. I think the idea on the show, they're saying the Seraphites just select a new person to be the vessel of the prophet after the death of the original prophet. Then they duck the group of WLF chasing the Seraphite. One of them is Burton, that same person that we spotted that was part of the Fedra with Isaac back in the day. When the Seraphite says, "May she guide me," he's referring to the prophet herself. And even though it does seem extremely irresponsible of Ellie to try and sacrifice their position in themselves, like she's sacrificing Jesse theoretically to save this Seraphite when there's way more of them and there's no way they would have saved the Seraphite to begin with. The way the writers, the producer explained it is that Ellie is having a PTSD flashback, thinking of herself as being the Seraphite that Joel saved in a moment like this. So it's just meant to put you more in Ellie's headspace and how she's so locked in on this revenge mission, Terminator style, like that's all she's thinking about, much to the detriment of every single other person who's here with her. We pick up with the WLF, Isaac and Park, who we just saw sacrifice her son in his squad to keep the spores underground. We actually saw her son with the spores when Ellie went down there to kill Nora, too. Isaac is in the middle of planning the larger attack on the Seraphites that they enact later in the episode. They're just coordinating all their forces, preparing for the attack. He mentions Abby, revealing that she's missing along with all of Abby's crew. This is because of something that they'll actually deal with at the beginning of Season 3, when they flash back to Seattle Day 1 to explain what Abby's been doing these last 3 days and why she winds up missing during this critical period here. When Isaac says they only have one Abby, he explains why she's more important than the other soldiers who they have a lock on right now. He considers her the most viable successor should he and Park die. Like, if we die, who's gonna lead all these people, all these sheep? Basically saying that all the other rank and file WLF members are a bunch of idiots, and they'll just completely be wiped out by Seraphites way quicker if they don't have a strong leader. And at least up to this point, he was hoping that Abby would become that leader someday. We'll probably see a little bit of that during the Abby storyline at the beginning of Season 3, just to see how Isaac views Abby. They make it to the bookstore. The reason why she grabs the Sesame Street book and Jesse says, that's a good book, is because she's thinking that she'll eventually give it to Dina's baby. Like, I'll bring this book along and someday I'll give it to the baby that she's going to have. Jesse tells the story about how he fell in love with a traveling painter who was terrible at painting, but who he just absolutely loved, and almost wound up leaving town with her, but did not because he is selfless. All the people in Jackson depended on him and loved him, raised him, and at least someday everyone is expecting him to become one of the town leaders after Maria is done. Which is also meant to foreshadow the tragedy of his death at the end of the episode when Abby kills him. Part of the idea they explain is he's collateral damage. Like, the most honorable person in the episode winds up being one of the ones to die. Like, it's always the good people that die. Sort of like a Ned Stark kind of moment. Like, that honor is going to get you killed. But basically, this is Jessie explain to Ellie how she's being super selfish in her mission running off to Seattle to try and get revenge for Joel's death. Takes her a second, but she kind of picks up his meaning. Like, oh yeah, you're telling me I'm a crap bag. They pick up the WLF on the radio yelling about a firefight with Tommy, he's the sniper who is not a Scar, down at the marina at the waterfront, which is also close to where Abby is supposed to be.
It's gotta be one of them.
Notice as they rush out of the bookstore, the camera briefly focuses on the giraffe toy. That feels like a callback to Salt Lake City with those giraffes in Season 1, real-life giraffes, but because they're also headed for an encounter with Abby. So Abby, Salt Lake City, the Fireflies, the giraffes. Ellie then clocks the Ferris wheel in the distance, connecting the dots about Abby in the aquarium with the whale. This moment and a lot of moments in the episode are taken directly from the game, where basically Jesse is like, I wish you well, and they go their separate ways. Like, he goes to help Tommy because Ellie is so stuck on revenge. She keeps coming up with excuses to not go help Tommy, instead go after Abby. Clearly in the wrong here. Like I said, Jesse is a real trooper for sitting here and taking this yelling from her, because normally you'd expect someone to smack her upside the head. She spots Isaac and the WLF go out to the Seraphites Island en masse and start their fight, which we actually see go down after she gets captured. It's the only reason why she gets saved too. It's actually a pretty funny, ironic moment. But the way the writers explain this in Neil Druckmann is that several points during this part of the episode where she first takes the boat and gets capsized by the wave, they wanted to keep presenting her with reasons to turn back. Like, first, it's getting capsized, like she almost dies in the bay here, then almost dies at the hands of the Seraphites, and is just barely saved after the little kid sells her out like gutter down the middle. Thank you so much for Isaac for inadvertently saving me. As she drives away in the boat, you can actually hear the explosions in the background as the WLF starts their attack. This is meant to be another moment where a normal person would also choose to turn back, like, oh, here's another opportunity for me to escape and go back to safety, but she does not. She's still bent on revenge, still obsessed, so she goes back for the Ferris wheel in the aquarium. You notice all the bloody medical gear that she spots is from Abby's crew patching themselves up. This is all stuff that they'll get into during the 3 days prior, and all the stuff that Abby and her crew have been up to the last couple of days. Like, there's a bunch of missing timeline for Abby that they'll deal with at the beginning of Season 3. She gets the drop on the rest of Abby's crew, who are in the middle of arguing about going after Abby, who's going to the Seraphites Island to try and rescue another member of her crew. This is also right out of the game, like them arguing, the reason why they're arguing, Ellie making them point on the map to tell them where Abby went, all from the game. as is the moment where she shoots, kills one of them, and kills the other, Mel, who is also super pregnant as they reveal. This whole WTF event is meant to be a big come to Jesus moment for her, like where it's supposed to hit her full in the face, like, oh, she's having this flashback to Dina being pregnant, like, oh, this could happen to Dina. Maybe this will make me realize that revenge is bad and I should turn back now. But they said it does not. She's still obsessed with killing Abby. So it's meant to be another really negative example of collateral damage. Right after this, we get another one with Jesse dying too. But before that, Tommy and Jesse arrived to bring her back to the theater. The reason why is because Tommy obviously demanded that they go rescue Ellie, because that's the whole reason why Tommy came with Jesse after them, because he's trying to save or protect the thing that was most precious to Joel, and that is Ellie. So after Jesse came to rescue Tommy, immediately they were like, okay, we need to go save Ellie now and bring her back. But Jesse also explains that he didn't have to be drug along on this mission too. Like, he's a good person. He wanted to go save Ellie after this too. There's a real nice brief moment where Ellie apologizes to Jesse for what she said to him earlier, and it seems like everything's fine, like they're gonna head back, it'll all be well, and she'll make her peace with it. Like, Tommy basically flat out asks her, are you gonna be okay with Abby still being alive? And she makes it sound like she's on her way to being okay with that, until, boom, Abby shows up. Speak of the devil, and she shall arrive.
I know why you killed Joel.
Wounding Tommy and killing Jesse. And I love the way they end the episode too, with Abby realizing who Ellie is. Like, oh, I let you live and you wasted it. You wasted your opportunity for life. And they just slammed to black with the gunshot to make you wonder what happens. But we all know that Ellie is still fine. Like, she didn't kill Ellie. Craig Mazin, the showrunner, was just saying how HBO is going to have to give them 4 seasons to completely tell The Last of Us 2 story. So, like, they're not going to kill Ellie, the main character of the games, in season 2. Wouldn't that be a crazy way to end the show, though, if they weren't going to do season 3? Like, we know they're going to do season 3, but wouldn't that be hilarious? Then it switches real briefly to flashback mode, that end tag scene, to start telling Abby's story, beginning with Seattle Day 1, which is the day that Ellie and Dina arrived in Seattle 3 days ago. But it'll explain what happened to Abby the last couple of days and why she was missing and Isaac couldn't find her. There's also a bit of an ironic, funny moment. The Thieves of the City book that Abby is reading here was written by David Benioff. That's right, David of David and Dan of Game of Thrones infamy. He wrote that book before they started doing the original Game of Thrones series. It was published in 2008. So the other Easter egg here too is that it shouldn't exist in the world of The Last of Us because the fungus outbreak happened long before this. It's the same thing with the Pearl Jam Future Days song, where like it's a cool Easter egg because the song is a good song, but technically it shouldn't exist because Pearl Jam didn't record that song till well after the fungus would have spread around the world. Not totally sure why they included David Benioff's book, if it's meant to be like an in Game of Thrones type of HBO joke, or Craig Mazin, the showrunner, is just friends with Dan and Dave or something like that. Maybe he's just a really big Game of Thrones fan. But then you see her walk out and view the entire stadium, and you see the WLF's main base of operations, just to show you how big their force is in Seattle. Then the song they use for the end credits is Soundgarden's Burden in My Hand, which is from 1996, so it's period accurate. It would have existed during The Last of Us. You can actually play some Soundgarden in the game. There are a bunch of covers that you can play. It's just that the show so far has mostly been obsessed with Pearl Jam just because Neil Druckmann is such a Pearl Jam stan. There are other songs, other pop music that exists inside the world. We've actually seen a lot of Nirvana in the background. Ellie even played some Nirvana in the background too. But like I said, Craig Mazin, the showrunner, is now claiming the last week or two that it's going to take them 4 seasons, not 3, to completely adapt the Last of Us 2 game. I think that's it. Like, my early theory is he's just saying that HBO is going to do 4 seasons, and they're in the middle of negotiating what that 4th season is going to be, how they're going to budget it out. But I don't think they're going to announce any kind of season 4 renewal for a long time. Like, they'll wait till after season 3 is up and running before they say, oh yeah, we probably renewed it for season 4, or season 3 is going to be the last of The Last of Us. We will see what winds up happening, but if there's any other Easter eggs or references that you spotted from The Last of Us 2 game, just write them below in the comments. Like I said, most of the episode's big moments are taken directly from moments in the game, with a couple small changes. And Season 3 will largely be the Abby season of The Last of Us, in the way that Season 2 was more of Ellie's season. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. Rick and Morty episodes also just started, so my Rick and Morty Season 8 Episode 1 video will post next. There's a bunch of other big movie and Fantastic Four stuff happening in the next couple days too, so I'll try to get all those videos out as fast as possible. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. In other Pedro Pascal news, just so happens that really big movie with him is coming out, and he's going to be in Avengers Doomsday as a big character too. The other real big reminder, next big HBO show that I'll be doing episode videos for will be Game of Thrones, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. They just delayed that till early next year. It's probably going to be around a March release date. So either they're doing that because they want to air all the Game of Thrones series like that and House of the Dragon Season 3 in the same year, or they're also going to delay House of the Dragon Season 3 until 2027. They're in the middle of filming House of the Dragon Season 3 right now, so we should get some footage of that pretty soon. I've already done a bunch of videos for all that stuff. Click here for all my Game of Thrones Night of the Seven Kingdoms trailer videos, and click here for all my House of the Dragon Season 3 videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.